Twitch, and I'm going to check the stream on Twitch. And wow, that was a close up of Luke. That auto zoom thing is just going nuts. It's like we're gonna count today. We're gonna be counting Luke's nose hairs. That's what. All right, we are streaming. Sound is working, and Dementia Radio now, and recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast. Brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hey, Devo Spice!
Hey, Luke Ski!
We have Trevor Morgan on the show!
Hey, Trevor!
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome. Could you be louder? You are softer than Luke.
I can. I will. I'm here. Can you hear me?
There we go. That's
There we go. Beautiful.
All right, cool. Welcome to episode 823 of the Funny Music Podcast. The title of this week's episode, now, Luke, I swear to you, I did not put my thumb on the scale in any way, shape, or form. Let me explain my process. I go to a random word generator website called wordcounter.net. It generates 5 words at random every time you load the page, and I pick 2 of them, smash them together, and get a show title. If there's any things that come together that I think could be particularly funny or particularly difficult to work into a conversation, that's typically where I go. 2 of the options today were natural and flap. So the title of this week's show is Natural Flap. And I swear it was the will of the randomness. So,
well, we'll explain why that's significant later, I guess. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sound good.
All right, cool.
All right, so I wasn't able to record anything with Steve Goodie this week, and he's busy tonight. But we do have Trevor Morgan with us. Welcome, Trevor.
Hello, you're stuck with me covering two slots
Trevor.
for people.
We can just pretend you're Steve Goodie, and we can interview you about
No,
his
please.
song.
I can't be Steve Goodie. The expectations that will suddenly be set on me are very high, and I don't want that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's do the catch-up thing.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke bailed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
No, he's right.
So, Luke, what you been up to?
Well, going to the job, which, I am, as usual, trying my best to go into it with, some sort of positive-ish attitude. I should also explain, I wasn't on last week's episode because basically it is very difficult to kind of get quality date night time with Kalani because her days off, like normal people, are Saturday and Sunday, and my days off are Wednesday and Thursday. And she happened to be needing to come to the Valley for a few days to do some work at one of their branches out here. So she came over to my place that Thursday afternoon. So basically I told her, like, well, I can, I can be absent from the FuMPCast for one night so that you and I can actually, have a date night, which was nice. So we went and saw the movie Hoppers, which was a lot of fun.
I still need to go see that.
Yeah, it's a good one. Let's see, what else can I tell all y'all about? The FuMPCast, we had the big old shebang about MarsCon. We did that on Wednesday the 11th. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to spot on my calendar anything significant that happened other than me having to go back to my job. There's an event coming up in April that I very much want to be at, but the only way I could be at it is if my job gives me one of the days off that is not a regular day off. So I basically typed up a letter explaining why I want and need the specific day off if they're willing to give it to me, and I filled out the form, and I'm only asking for 1 day. But I'm still in my 90-day probationary period after being promoted. So basically, I'm just like, and just given other situations I won't go into here on this public podcast, I can't run the risk of getting fired. So, if I wasn't in this dumb probationary period, people are like, well, you just call in sick. It's like, well, in other circumstances, I probably would, but I can't run the risk of getting fired right now in my life. So, I filled, I typed up a letter, I stapled it to the form, and I turned it in. And the person who was supervising that day, she signed off on it to pass it up to the next person in line, who would then review it to let me know whether or not I'd actually get that day off. So I turned it in on a Tuesday, and according to a friend of mine that works elsewhere in the country, when you turn that in, they need to get a response to you within 3 days, and if they don't get a response to you, then the time is automatically approved. So basically, if they haven't given me an answer, I work tomorrow. If they haven't given me an answer tomorrow by the time I leave work, then, I'm going to look up that specific rule in my big old thick rule book just to, let the powers that be know, oh, by the way, none of you answered me, and according to the rule book, this time is automatically approved off, so I will not be here that day. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope for the best, because I can't spend another month and a half, like I did for MarsCon, wondering whether or not I was going to get that time off or not. So, I mean, so hopefully I'll get it. I mean, I haven't missed a day. I had like a little review with my I had a review with my supervisor, which is like a roughly once a month thing where it's like, oh, I need to have an attendance review with you. And then she looked at me and she brought up like, they keep track on their computers how many days I went over the 0.08 of allowance, which I didn't find out until recently. They also, it's cumulative for the whole day. So like if I show up exactly on time, but then I go to lunch and I lose track of time, and then I clock back in late from lunch, however late I clocked in back from lunch also goes against the 0.0, like 8/100ths of an hour rule. So there were days that I was considered having crossed over late because of getting back like a minute or two late from lunch and not realizing it. They never explained that to me. Like I said, they wait until you mess something up, then they tell you broke a rule, and that's how they train you. It's like, why don't you just tell me all the rules up front? That is the dumbest way. Why don't you tell me all the rules up front so I know them, so I know not to break them, so that I don't look like I'm a bad employee in your records? But whatever. So ever since then, things have been fine, except for one day when the police literally shut down the 5 because they were doing a police chase of someone who stole a vehicle. And I know that because traffic was stopped enough that I could actually, on my phone, type up Google, like, why is traffic stopped on the 5 right now? And it brought up a thing saying what was going on. And then once things cleared up, I could see that, like up ahead, like the police lights, where they'll do this thing where they kind of drive the police cars like back and forth like this, like across the lanes to like intentionally get everyone to like slow down to an absolute crawl and stuff like that. And you're like, well, you're just stuck on the highway now. It doesn't matter if you had to get to work or not.
Yeah.
So, I was able to get them to fill out the form thingy to be like, okay, well, we're going to excuse this lateness, but it still shows up as you having been late that day by just over a half hour. It's like, okay, fine. That of all the time I've worked there, that's the most late I've ever been, and it was because of the police shutting down the highway and had nothing to do with anything I did. And I just want to ask people who say stuff like that. It's like, well, you just need to leave earlier. It's like, okay, do I need to plan that every day the police are going to shut down the highway? It's like, is that the level of preparedness I need to have in Los Angeles? Like, how early is early enough for you people? It just
how long is your commute?
If traffic is clear, it would like completely clear. It should only be like 25 minutes. On a normal day, it's like 35 minutes, and some days it gets as long as like 45 to 50 minutes. So I try to leave an hour early and so that way I make sure I get there in time.
Yeah, because I kind of had the same problem with one of my old jobs where, it was a small company, and they were mostly concerned that they wanted somebody there at 9 o'clock to answer the phones because the owners very often didn't come in till 10 or 11. And like I came in at like 9:07 one day, and somebody had called at like 9:05 and left a message for my boss, and he came in and asked me about it, and I was like, dude, it's a 35-mile drive. It takes me over an hour to get here in the morning. A lot can happen in 35 miles. I told him, I'm like, this is when I leave. I listen to the traffic forecast, listen to the traffic report. I try to go around whatever I can, but there's times when shit happens and I'm stuck and there's nothing I can do,
Yeah. So, and then yesterday, because I had the past 2 days off, yesterday in the afternoon, I recorded Animation and Stuff episode 15 with my friend Zach Hurst, who is the person who has edited several of my fan videos. He did Run Berry Run and She's Cara Zarel, Lower Decks Keep It Moving, the Toys video that I showed when I performed that live, and the most recent one that I premiered at MarsCon, Who Let the Frog Out. So I had him on the show so that we could do a deep dive all about the Muppets and talk about the new Muppets episode that posted that went up last month. So that was a lot of fun. And then so after I recorded episode 15, I edited and posted to Patreon episode 14. So that is up for the Patreon people right now because I posted to them a day early. It'll be going publicly live tonight at 11:30 p.m. Pacific. So in about 4 hours or so from now, everyone will be able to get it. And the
it's
title
all
of the
about
episode,
flaps.
Yes, is Let's Call Them Flaps. Because as we know, our Vice President J.D. Vance, who I interviewed at MarsCon, he was born with natural flaps.
Damn it.
How were you not prepared for
I know.
that?
I don't know why I didn't see that coming.
So yeah, and that episode, just because it was so short and not very... didn't really have much animation stuff in it at all. I recorded an extra segment the other night when Tony happened to be over. So Tony and Kalani and I talk for about a half hour about various stuff. We talk about hoppers and the Disney afternoon and stuff. So I have that starting off the show, and then I do the part with that MarsCon with Vice President J.D. Vance. who may or may not be Ross Childs in disguise, but So that's basically what I've been up to. Oh, and right now I'm working on putting together this month's episode of Luke Ski's monthly mixtape Madness, and based on a suggestion from one of my Patreon followers, the theme is. I think I'm going to try to see if I can find enough to fill up the entire episode with this. The theme is specifically the theme songs of animated TV shows. So not just any old song from an animated TV show, and not songs about animated TV shows. The theme songs of the shows themselves, or covers of them that are particularly cool or interesting. So
you must include the theme song to Megas XLR, or I will disown you.
All right, let me write that down. Megas XLR. So yeah, I am up to about 45 minutes ish of stuff, and I'm trying to get to 60 minutes. And right now I'm, again, if my iTunes hadn't been obliterated, this would have been a much easier thing for me to figure out. But I'm just kind of trying to, in my mind, catch it. Like, what are the cool theme songs or theme song covers that I have that I could add to the mix? So I thought of a couple others, and I'm gonna write them down. So I'm gonna basically try to get that thing finished and posted tonight because, I'm gonna be busy the next few nights. Excuse me. Anyway, so that is what has been going on with me. Oh, and yeah, for people who are listening live, you're watching like the chat room, right, Devo?
Yep.
Yeah. So if anyone who's listening live wants to suggest any cartoon theme songs that I should include in the episode, that let me know, let Devo know, and during various breaks he can tell me what you all are saying. And I reserve the right to completely ignore all of you, but you can make suggestions if you wish. So yeah, what have you been up to, Devo?
I've been sick. That's been fun.
Oh no!
If you listen to last week's episode, you hear me coughing a couple of times. That was the beginning of it. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was just strung out with a brutal cold, just absolutely massive head cold. I'm pretty sure this was not something I picked up at MarsCon, and it was not COVID. I tested. The reason being because Jen also got sick at the exact same time. And both of us were sick all weekend. And so we're pretty sure we got it from Jeremy because he was out of school for a few days being sick. So we're pretty sure we got it from him. But I'm still a little congested. I'm still coughing a little bit. I'm over it now. I'm much better now. But I'm still just lingering congestion and cough, and it's driving me nuts. But it screwed me over because I had no energy to do anything for like 4 days. And meanwhile, I've been trying to work on the cover of the FuMP Volume 115 where I was doing a drawing. And I'm like, I just didn't have the energy to do it. So, it was getting anything done this past week was just a slog. I mean, other than stuff that were like, I absolutely had to do it. Like I had a couple auditions come through that I kind of forced my way to get through. But other than that, I kind of spent 4 days sleeping. But I did manage to finish the FuMP 115 finally. I finished the drawing yesterday, and I got the rest of it, done today. The CDs are still in production, but those will go out soon. But for the cover, what I wanted to do was a drawing in the style of Jay Ward, like the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons, and so I looked at a whole bunch of his drawings, and then I tried doing. There was actually one drawing in particular that I found of like this block with a whole bunch of the Bullwinkle characters in it, and then I lost it. I never found it again. But that was what I was picturing, so I wanted to do that with a bunch of FuMP characters in it, and so I drew the FuMP characters in his style, and it works. I like it, but it doesn't quite look like his style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't go far enough with it, and I think what I should have done was taken like specific characters that he drew and redraw them with the FuMP attributes to make them look more like us. On the plus side, I think all the characters are recognizable as the people who they are, but it just doesn't quite get over that line of, oh, this was drawn by Jay Ward. I mean, I like it still. I think it's pretty good, but it's bugging me that I didn't quite nail it this time.
Is the person behind Steve's left Bullwinkle antler supposed to be me?
Let me hang on. No,
kind of hiding behind.
No, you're on the back. Hang on, let me pull it up.
Listen, I know you were trying to...
That's Dino Mike behind his antler there. You both kind of have similar hairstyles. But
so
you're on the back.
In the Rocky and Bullwinkle themed cover, you didn't think to put the guy who voiced Rocky playing Rocky on the front of the album with Bullwinkle.
No, you're on the back. It's fine. You're the one standing on the rock. Standing on a rock. For no reason whatsoever. I was like, I'm going to draw Luke standing on a rock pointing at the kamikaze snowmen. And like, I don't, it just seemed like a good idea at the time. And in animation news, I actually did a workshop with an animation casting director the other night, where we picked a scene from a whole bunch of scenes that she sent us, and I chose a scene from what I believe is the Harley Quinn show from HBO. It was because I've never seen that show, but I mean, it was definitely an adult-themed cartoon with the Joker and Harley Quinn, and I played a prison guard who goes to get the Joker when Harley comes to visit. And like, there was one line I loved where the Joker says, "Oh, who came to visit me?" And the guard goes, "Your mother, conjugal visit." I liked that. So I don't think I impressed her or anything, but we'll see if anything comes of this.
Yeah, I highly recommend Harley Quinn the animated series.
I've heard it's great. I don't have HBO, so I have to go sail in the high seas or something. But yeah, so that's it for me. So Trevor, what have you been up to?
I've been up to a lot, actually. I have a MarsCon story I have to throw down for you guys, even though I wasn't there. I originally was planning to be there because I was Lucas' ride, and I wanted to see everybody again because I'd mentioned to you before we went on air, every single time I've been on the FuMPcast, Luke has not been on except that first time back at FuMPFest, and so I have just somehow missed Luke like a two ships passing in the night. And so I was like so excited to meet you, and then I was like, oh, I can't go because my car needed like a bunch of repairs on it, and so I was like, okay, that's out. I'm still taking the weekend off. I took these days off. I'm gonna take a little mini vacation. So that lucky panda, Lucas, and I went to Chicago, and I dropped him off to Ian, who then took him the rest of the way, and then several days later, I was going to go back and pick him up, and I got Chicago. The way there is great. Hung out with one of my friends, got Chicago style pizza, had the weekend off. I come back, and they call me on the way there. They're like, we're both really sick, and we don't know why. And I was like, okay. And as it turns out, on the way home from Chicago, Luke lives in the middle, like by Columbus. I live in Fort Wayne, so it's a nice 6-hour drive. Ian texts us, and they're both masked up when I see them. And he's like, I went to the emergency room, and I have COVID. And at this point, Lucas is dying in the passenger seat of my car with his mask on, and now I'm just sweating because I realize I am in the car for the next 5.5 hours with someone who almost certainly has COVID. And so that was kind of a fun thing. Fortunately, by some miracle, I did not. I'm fine. I tested. I'm fine. I haven't gotten sick.
Masks work wonders, people.
They do. If you ever wanted an example of that, I drive a Volkswagen. It's very little inside that car. There's no space, but Lucas wore a mask the whole time we went, and I haven't gotten sick, and that was over 2 weeks ago, and I didn't test positive at any point because you can be asymptomatic and it can be really mild.
Yeah, I tested too after Ian told us, and I tested twice, once after I got really sick, and was negative both times.
And fortunately, everybody's okay. That was the other side of it, is everybody ended up being okay. The natural flaps of everyone's vocal cords were fine in the end. And so but other than that, I've been I have been tuning in, and I feel you, Luke, because I am working a similar kind of job situation, though. Whatever the post office is doing for their like scheduling, where they're like, you were a foot away from the clock when you weren't supposed to be, you're late, sort of thing. I don't get any of that. I just work a lot of hours, so I feel that. But yeah, they're.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, nuts, absolutely nuts.
I was gonna say something earlier, and then something distracted me, and I didn't finish my thought. So, because this ties in with what you were just saying. So. The woman who's my supervisor, she does this thing like once a month, where we look at the attendance and see how you were doing and blah blah blah, and she said, okay, well, you were 0.10 and you were 0.12 those 2 days, and then there was that day with the police thing, just do your best to try to leave home, an extra 5 minutes early so that you don't end up in that situation again. And I'm like, okay, and we talked about some other things. I talked about the fact that coming up at the end of May, like right after Memorial Day, I potentially have jury duty. Fortunately, that's past my 90-day probationary window, so that shouldn't be an issue. And if I do get picked for the jury, the post office actually pays for jury duty days. So that's, we'll see what happens with that. And I asked her some other stuff, that was pertinent, and she was being very, friendly and personable, because this was on a day when not a lot was happening, so nobody had to rush around. There was no, stress. So at the very end, right as we're about to be done with the conversation, she's like, so what do you think? I'm like, well, what do I think about what? She's like, just, what do you think about working here? How are you feeling about it? And I had to, that whole kind of time slows down thing, I had to stop myself from saying the words, which I've said on the show before. I hate this job with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. It literally tripped me up for a second, where I'm like, I know it will be bad for me right now to say honestly, oh, I still fucking hate this place and I don't want to be here ever. So I basically kind of said well, I'm really appreciative that I was able to get the days off to go on that trip, because I was really relaxed the whole time I was there, and ever since I got back, I've just felt a lot better. So, I just rattled off something along those lines to let her know that I am generally feeling better about things, having done the trip that I was going on. Planning to go on the whole time. The thing I've been telling them about since the first day I freaking started, that was important to me. Like, oh, this thing 6 months from now isn't going to be a big deal, isn't? Oh, it's not during the busy season. It's not going to be a big deal. And then they made it a big deal by promoting me. I will say though, in fairness, I'm making $3 an hour more than I was before I was promoted. So I am getting paid more, which I need due to various financial situations in my life. I need to
due to gas being down. What, $8 a gallon out there.
I go to Costco, and they have the cheapest gas anywhere out here, and at the Costco Burbank, I think it was $5.59 was the cheapest gas. So yeah, fortunately I'm not working at Ease anymore, so it's not like I have to use my car to drive all day.
That's true.
I just have to drive 20 miles there and 20 miles back. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I appreciate all of that, Trevor. Just that just that whole thing of oh well, you're allowed the 0.08 over the thing, but it only allows for congestion at the clock. So even if you're still technically not late, I'm gonna write you down on my clipboard that you're late because I was standing here watching to see when the congestion stopped. Which basically stops after 0.01 or 0.02. Because each 0.01 is 36 seconds. So that's how anal, she's being about whether or not she considers you late and whether or not the company considers you late. So
your job honestly reminds me of that scene in Dune where Paul has his hand in the box and he has the needle up to his neck, and he's like, if you pull your hand out of the box, even though this is very painful, you will die immediately. And it feels like that's what your job is, except you don't ever get to pull your hand out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, basically, with the news I've gotten recently about various things in my life, it just kind of made me realize, this is pretty much what I'm doing for the rest of my life. My only way out of this is if I could miraculously land another job like I had at Cartoon Network, or if I sold one of the shows I'm working on, like Deanna and Darius. That's my only way out of this job, pretty much. So this is my fate, is trying to stomach going to this job and, being away from home for, 10.5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then on the Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm home trying to relax, but also have the time to work on creative stuff and get the Patreon stuff done for my patrons so I can make a little bit of extra money with my side hustle there. So, and take care of my kitty wherever he is. He's somewhere around here. Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. So, anyway, hey, happy, fun comedy music. Whee! Natural flaps. Yay!
God damn it.
That's technical. That's getting in on a technicality.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. So, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, or should we just get into your song?
God, I'm so sorry to everyone who's about to experience. No, we can get right into it because the thing I want to talk about with it would spoil how it came to be. And I will say for everyone who's listening, this is 100%, not in terms of there's a lot of cursing or anything, content-wise, 100% a Squick song, and I'll explain how it came to be after we play it.
All right, here is Unearthing Desire by the War Chrymes.
of the dirt. A Neanderthal skull or evidence of the flat earth. We'll uncover it all. We're gonna have a ball. It's time once again for archaeology. I've been around this earth and I've seen so much. Take sights at the Great Wall of China and the loving touch. Of a beautiful mummy, straight from Peru. Pull the body out of the crypt and it's ready to move. Oh, and down in the south, the Nashville way, I see a beautiful monument, a sexy-ass grave. I read the epitaph, and it's James K. Polk. Can hardly hide my smile, because I'm ready to poke.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC.
What the hell are you doing prowling around this area at night?
I had a band practice. I had
Band practice.
So
And what band do you play?
I'd rather not say.
Explain that to me.
I should have been on my way home. Shouldn't have. I don't know. This isn't something I normally would do. The thought of some friendship was nice. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very curious thing, all this.
We're archaeology men. We're friends of the dirt. Dug up a pterodactyl skull with shooting size holes where the eyes once were. The eyes once were. We'll uncover it all. We're gonna have a ball. It's time once again for archaeology. Oh, they're just lying there. Deep in the ground, nobody's using them. It's not stealing or anything.
All right, this is not the FuMP's first foray into necrophilia, so you might be comforted to know that.
Thank God. I kid you not, when I could feel the sweat starting to drip from here, where I was like, you know, it's funny because I was anticipating this being live until it was actually being played live for people. Normally I can just put up something anonymously and I don't have to deal with it, but then I was like, I'm in the middle of this.
Yeah, we've got Jane Doe by Sea Monkey, and I think Dino Mike had one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like the Zombie Girl or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you're in good company.
Thank goodness we could round it out. That's a hat trick of songs.
Yep.
It can be a little EP.
Little EP of
It's, no one should have to buy that, but
Yep.
you know, it is what it is.
So what inspired this one?
So this one was an accident. So what happened?
That's what they all say.
I swear to God, it was an accident. It really didn't intend to. This was not the direction it was intended to go. What happened was my friend Ruben, who has been helping me write lyrics. I wrote a first draft of the verse and the chorus, and we were trying to go for the angle of it'd be funny to make a glam metal like Motley Crue style song about like archaeology somehow and make it sound like it's this raunchy thing when it's gonna end up being like very G rated, like very eyewitness kind of VHS tape sort of vibes to it. And then he interpreted the line in the first verse, which I was just using like an old hair metal trope, which was "Hot Mummy Mama's on the brain," as the direction for what the rest of the song should go in. So I sent him the first verse and chorus, and I was like, "Yeah, mess with it, try to figure it out." And then he took that to be, "Oh, this is setting up the second verse and the rest of the song." And I was like, "Ruben, not that I'm not going to take credit for it because I put the rest of the song together, but I just like I remember getting the message for that, and I was like, I don't know if we can run with this." And then I was like, "Actually, it's a terrible idea, and we should 100% run with it because it's extremely dry and uncomfortable and stupid. It's a stupid song." And then the last piece was when I because we write the lyrics and then I come up with the music around the lyrics rather than the other way around, so it's backwards from what sane people do. And there was a bridge section because I was just like, I just need like a little buffer because it's just like one thing after another. And then I was like, it makes sense to have a Chris Hansen sample in here for this particular topic, but I'm gonna have to like, how am I? When would he have talked about mummies or like the pyramids? Like what context could he possibly have talked about that in? And then I found one where he was just talking to a guy who was supposed to be going to band practice, and I was like, we can just snip that up and it'll be fine. It'll sit right in there, and it worked perfectly. So and again, apologies to everyone at home for sitting through this one, because unlike the Thumbnut stuff, which is unlistenable because the vocals are badly performed, this one was unlistenable because of the story it told, but it was really well put together technically. So
yeah, it's an amazing rock song.
It really is.
It really works as a full on hair metal rock type of anthem, you know.
Mm-hmm. And that was sort of the idea, was when we started working on this and a couple other songs, was and I told Ian this when I asked him to like listen to it ahead of time. I was like, the idea is that you could put this on, and if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't immediately notice anything was wrong.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
But then you read the lyrics and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are you talking about? Like
this is the type of song you perform at karaoke, and like halfway through the song, people are like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, like we were very much going for the effect of like, it's not going to be going for like an immediate joke, and it's not going to necessarily be for like a laugh out loud thing, but it's going to be going for one of those things where everyone's like, yeah, and then at some point everyone goes, what? So it plays much better in the UK, because I had a couple of British friends who were like, that's so funny, mate. And I was like, we're not having the same reaction over here. It's not working over here. So, but yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, it's really fun to put together, and yeah, just a wild little ride putting this dumb song together.
So yeah, I was just looking at the credits on the bottom. You have a bunch of people involved in the war crimes now.
Mm-hmm. So initially it was That Lucky Panda, and then what ended up happening was we kind of wanted to do two different things with the project, and so we started. I still work with him, and I love Lucas. We just had two different like visions for where we wanted things to go. So what ended up happening was I ended up putting the music together, and then I had a bunch of I live close to a humongous music store in Fort Wayne, and if there is a musician you want to play something, you can just pull them in, and you can find anybody to do anything. And so I laid down like basic tracks for everything, but I was like, I'll stick to the guitar part, and I was like, I need an actual like competent drummer to come in, and bass player, and like vocalist. And so
speaking of bass player, I'm looking at the at the credits, and I love this. The guy's name is Jack the Beef Wellington.
Yeah, yeah.
That is possibly the best name I've ever heard, especially for a bass player. That's fantastic.
Yeah, well, because I was like, because initially the other fun part of this was I had to ask when I pitched this song to them, I was like, just so you guys know, obviously I want to give you guys credit on this song. Do you want to be credited under a pseudonym? Because you're all professional session players, and this is I don't know to what extent, like, how many people are going to hear this. Do you want to be under a different name? And they were all like, just, yeah, cool, put our names on it. And so I was just like, and so I threw I was like, we need a funny credits in the name. And I didn't have any good nicknames. And I was like, that's obvious. Just call him the Beef. That's like, he's just such a profound musician that they just call him the Beef, you know? But yeah, last name worked perfectly. I was like, I came up with it on the spot while I was like typing it into the FuMP website, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's good."
I love that like these guys were all okay with having their name on this project, because I've done a couple of projects where people were like, "Yeah, don't put my name on this," you know.
Yeah, well, that was what I was anticipating. I remember I told Delaney, who's the drummer, I told her that I was like, you playing a lot of church bands, right? You're playing a lot of church bands, right? And she was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, okay, I have this song. I got this song that I'm working on, and she thought it was very funny, probably out of horror, and yeah, no, it was really good, and especially because Ruben came up with maybe the best rhyme out of any song we've done, which is he rhymed James K. Polk with poke, and I was just like, sold, done. That's where we're gonna run with. So, but I'm glad it wasn't the first necrophilia song on the FuMP. That's a real comfort to me personally.
Now, one of the very early sudden death songs was about necrophilia. In fact, it was called Necrophilia. Because like back when I was in high school, when I was a senior, I learned what necrophilia meant, and I was like, I need to write a song about that, and I did.
Oh no! Yeah.
I played it for my father, and he was like, "What possessed you to write this?" And I was like, "I just thought it was funny." And he was like, "Okay."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's also kind of what like pushed me over the edge when like I was making this. I was like, you get halfway, you get like through the first whole chorus, and you're like, it's just a silly song about like archaeology, and it's like I love that luring people into like a false sense of security, and then if you're paying attention, pulling the rug out from under you. So that was good. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it.
Well, I did. Screw everybody else. I don't care what they think.
Good deal. Good deal.
That should be fairly obvious, owing to the nature of my music. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
I was like, at least Devo's gonna like it, and that's really all that matters. If Devo likes it, while I'm wearing my Gravity Falls hat, play this song. So yeah, no, it was good. I was glad that it got through, because the last note I'll have on it was when I submitted it, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna make it. It might be a sideshow song. Like, I don't know if it's gonna get all the way through, and that's okay.
if Gravity Falls wasn't an animated show aimed at just kids, Grunkle Stan would be like, "Hey, come have sex with the skull of James K. Polk. $5.
Oh God, what a
$10 will throw in the pterodactyl for free."
It's God, why it sounds like Bobby Moynihan in a sketch where he plays. Yeah, I guess
if it makes you feel any better, I just checked the votes on this song, and it did very well.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
okay.
It basically got an A-.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that the big thing is like, I don't think you could get away with the particular lyric if the rest of the song did not like play it up as just being like, this is a normal thing. This is a real deal song. that we are completely earnest about. So I'm glad. Oh yeah, I'm glad that part came together.
Yeah, good work. Excuse me. So do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Well, not at. I do have to do a little bit of this terrible self-important sort of announcement on here. So you and I are working on a song together, but I'm not going to go into detail on. But we're working on a song together, and after this, when I listened to this song in my car, like the last time you listen to the last mix of it, and you're like, great, perfect, whatever. I'm happy with it. It's good enough. I sat there and I had a feeling wash over me, which I haven't had since like 2015. So in 2015, what ended up happening was I took a hiatus from the Thumbnuts, and it was like I didn't write any music for 5 years, like 5 years from 2015 until middle of 2020. And I sort of I sat down and I was like, oh crap, I feel really content with the work I've put out like so far, with not just like my stuff, but with like a lot of people. And I just had a moment where, and I talked with Lucas about this a little bit, but I had this moment where I like sat with it for a while, and I came to the conclusion that I actually have not really like felt super like enthused about making my own stuff. I've been way happier working on other people's stuff and like producing stuff and that kind of thing. And so I sat with it for a while, and finishing the song in early January. I have not worked on anything of my own for since then. And so I came to the conclusion, I was like, I think I had that same feeling before, and I had the same feeling now, and I have not had the compulsion to like work on my own stuff. So I have, for as much as it's worth, I'm retiring from making my own comedy music. I have come to that conclusion where I'm just working on other kinds of creative projects, and I'm working on other people's music, where I just feel like I've done everything that I want to do with my own stuff, and I would much rather mix and master and be a session musician on other people's stuff.
Well, as long as you keep doing stuff for me, I'm then fine. Whatever.
Yeah. So I don't want to, I don't want to stop like making stuff, but I definitely feel like I've just reached that point where I was like, as far as my own art goes, I'm content with it. I'm happy with it. This was I felt so good about how this song came together that I was like, that's a good place to like let it rest. And so
I'm never going to top an archaeology song about necrophilia.
I was just like, I don't know where else to go. Like, I don't, it's not only that, but it was also like, as far as like production and as far as like all the stuff that came together with it, I was like, I've done everything I wanted to do with my own music. I have not felt compelled in almost 4 months to like do anything on my own or like write original pieces or do anything like that. But I felt really good about like starting to work with other people. There's a fairly large Filt group. I'm not going to name drop, but I'm talking with them this weekend about producing their next album.
Oh,
so
cool.
Whenever that happens, obviously I have your song. And then, if anybody wants me to plan stuff or like help them write stuff that they're coming up with, all day. But as far as like starting something from scratch, I've just been like, I'm fine not doing that. I'd like to work on other people's stuff. So,
all right. Well, I have plenty of stuff for you to do. So
good,
don't get too comfortable.
Yeah, I finally made enough money from the 3 songs I've released on the FuMP
to buy your to supersize your fries, and that was all you needed to do, right? It was like, I just need to supersize.
I've made enough money to actually be able to myself go to Paramount and be like, I know that you're never going to remaster Voyager or Deep Space Nine, but I have the money now from the 3 FuMP songs I've done that we can do the same. We can do the widescreen treatment for Next Gen. We can go back in and redo all the visual effects for Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Maybe we'll get to Enterprise someday. Nobody's looking for that, but I love Enterprise. But I know by reputation, my favorite Star Trek film, honestly, is Nemesis, and that's the one I'd really like to go back and touch it. I'm kidding. Please.
It's tough
Please.
to tell because if that's your favorite film, fine, whatever. I mean, I like Nemesis. It's not my favorite, but I do like it. I don't understand the hate it gets, but
I think that has like there's a lot of stuff in it that's like this is interesting premise stuff. It does feel a little Star Warsy in the like Shinzon is like a clone of Picard specifically for some reason, and everything's kind of interconnected in the universe and in the Star Trek galaxy. And I was just like, this is whatever. We're not going. This is not a podcast about Star Trek Nemesis and what it does well and what it doesn't do well. But for everyone's information, it's The Voyage Home. My favorite's The Voyage Home. It's a respectable enough pick where I don't have to be like, I like a lot of stuff that goes on in 5 actually, or the motion picture. I will defend those all day, but I can have my safe pick as 4, and everyone's comfortable.
you can't go wrong with that. Everyone loves that one. My personal favorite is First Contact, but I do love 4.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'd like to revise my answer to Generations. Generations and Insurrection are really the two, like, nothing really tops those for me, including any individual episode of any of the series. Generations blows Wrath of Khan clear out of the water.
I don't know if you were aware that I did a song about First Contact called Resistance, which Devo Spice later did a cover of. So,
oh, okay, yeah.
It's a parody of Cakes the Distance. And I considered, what is it, The Who did that song, Talking About My Generation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I considered doing a parody of that song about Star Trek Generations. Like talking Star Trek Generations, Kirk must die because he's too old. I don't know, something like that.
Since we're talking about Luke Ski Star Trek songs, Luke, I was shocked at how low Star Trek Case was on your poll because that's one of my favorite songs of yours.
Well, I kind of retconned that I retconned the title so it's called Trekkie Case instead of Star Trek Case because it's like that was a dumb title. It was my parody of Basket Case, and God, like I remember being in the studio. And like there's something about that harmony vocals that happens, do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? And that all at once. And there's like another voice that comes on in there that's like singing higher, like all at once or something like that. And I couldn't sing it right in either register, so my solution at the time, because I was so frustrated, was just to scream it like a maniac.
Yeah, I mean it's not the greatest performance. It's an early song of yours, and it shows. But I love the lyrics, and I still sing it like while I'm out walking the dog. I love that song.
And then after Paco Bell, Rob Paravonian's Paco Bell became so popular, I actually wrote for the middle of the song where there's a bridge and there's like nothing happening other than me playing sound bites. I wanted to have for a live version take out the sound bites, and then I was going to sing the notes to Paco Bell's canon, like a bunch of additional lyrics, kind of name checking a whole bunch of other Star Trek people. I'd have to dig into my archives to find those lyrics, and it was on my to-do list of at some point I'm going to redo this song and do the Spackle Bell version of Trekkie Case, and I never got around to it. So, yeah.
We'll put it on your someday list because I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and Trevor, I wanted to say, there was a time in my life back in, I think it was late 2011, early 2012, when I was basically saying to myself, you know what? I think I've hit a point where I don't really need to do any more Star Wars themed like comedy songs. I think I've kind of covered the whole universe. I think I'm gonna kind of put that to bed. And then Disney bought Lucasfilm, and then literally everybody I know, including Dr. Demento, contacted me asking me if I was going to do something with that information. And then 3 weeks later, I had Wendy Wish Upon a Death Star, and then I won a Logan Award. So, so never say never, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things, where it's just like, obviously, if like something compelling enough like strikes me, obviously, like it'll be one of those things where I'll like pop up and write something. But it does feel like it feels like it also feels like one of those times where I was like, I like I need to put all these like my own projects on hiatus because it's like I don't want to actively pursue them, but like there are a number of parodies that like I'm trying to get in contact with Jeff Whitmire because I wrote a parody of Panama by Van Halen called Samara, which is you have to kind of flub the pronunciation about the ring. And I was like, this is great, this is perfect. I'm not the person to perform this. I do the instruments, but I was like, Jeff would eat this up. Jeff would eat this up. And so I write a lot of parodies. Like I've got a parody of Fuel by Metallica about pod racing, which I was like, this is the most obvious thing imaginable. And I'm just like trying to find the right person to like hand it off to. So I'm like still like writing stuff, but it's like a lot of diverse styles that don't like coalesce into a thing where it's like, I don't know if I would put this under my name or.
That sounds like a Toby Danger project.
It does sound like a Toby Danger project a little bit. So, maybe get in touch with them because we've been back and forth about maybe working on something of theirs, but, yeah, so, but I feel like this, I feel like it's, I don't want to beat a dead horse or a mummy, over trying to like just force myself to make something. So I was just like, I'm comfortable cool. With it. So,
all right, well, good. All right. All right. So we're going to move on to news in the second song. Are you sticking around or are you taking off?
Yeah, I'll stick around.
All righty. Let's do some news.
This is the FuMP.
Give to the homeless and love all my neighbors. Don't blow my paychecks at 31 flavors. Pay down my credit cards, firm up my buns. These are a few of my resolutions.
There's a Demogorgon loose in town, and he's a flower-headed jerk. There's a hero in this town, and they call him Chief. He's gonna solve all these mysteries. His right hook alone will leave you missing teeth. So you don't mess around with Jim. I never got the chance to start a Ponzi scheme, my friend, or to party with them rowdy Taliban.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Mr. Jefferson, this is Dr. Reeves again. The first one.
Hi, Marscon.
Whoops. Wrong button.
Time for funny music news. Something.
I don't need to play the MarsCon promo again. In the news, the FuMP Volume 115 is now available. Very sorry for the delay. I was sick. Features all the songs from January and February of 2026, including Don't Mess With Jim by Toby Danger, Bucket List by Massively Offensive, Even the Mooses by Steve Goodie, Stupid Rap Battles 4 by me featuring Worm Quartet, Anything You Wanted by Mikey Mason, and many, many more, plus a 13-minute highlights video reel from MarsCon 2026. This album is available now in the store at thefump.com. CDs will be going out either tomorrow or more likely Saturday, depending on how long it takes me to cut and fold and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, FuMP Volume 115 is finally in the can. And the newsletter finally went out as well. The March newsletter for March 2026, featuring the FuMP Volume 115, the MC Lars Kickstarter, the Mikey Mason's Patreon, and some other stuff. If you're not on our mailing list, you can view it online at tiny.cc/FuMP0326. It's tiny.cc/FuMP0326. And if you're not on our mailing list yet, now is a good time to sign up, because we will be putting out the April Fool's newsletter coming up on April 1st. So look forward to that. That's all the news I got. Luke, you got anything?
Just that, the latest episode of Luke's Keys Animation Stuff podcast was released today, episode 14, featuring Ross Childs. And if you are one of my patrons, you already got the link to it, and if you're not, it'll be up within a few hours. So be sure to listen to that. And the people who are my patrons will also be getting very shortly the March episode of my comedy music 1 hour show called Lukeski's Monthly Mixtape Madness. And I am desperately trying to find... Oh, cool. Maybe I found the right folder this time. I was trying to find the Nick Adams folder so that I could get their album cut version of the G.I. Joe theme for the cartoon theme. There it is. Why in the hell okay, I've done many searches for this and I couldn't find it, and it was frustrating me. Anyway, so so go donate to my Patreon if you want to hear it. It'll be up soon, as well as all the other potential behind-the-scenes stuff that you can get by being at various levels of my Patreon. So go to patreon.com/Lukeski, Lukeski, and that's about it.
All right, tour dates. On Sundays in Nashville, Tennessee, Steve Goodie hosting at the Bluebird. Sundays online, 2 Sleeps. The last Sunday of each month on Facebook, Lauren Mayer. Mondays online, Steve Goodie and Brad Tassel at virtualcomedyshow.com. Wednesdays in San Francisco, California, Ben Vicini. On the 1st in Voorheesville, New York, Drew Jacobs. On the 2nd in Indio, California, Jefferson De Leon. On the 3rd in Easton, Maryland, Bussy. On the 3rd in Garden City, New York, Carla Ulbrich. On the 4th in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Jessica Delfino. On the 4th in Oakland, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. And on the 4th in Muncie, Indiana, Mikey Mason. And I want to mention, I don't think I mentioned this before, I've been booked to perform at RavenCon, which will be taking place, when is that? Last weekend of April? Yeah, 25th and 26th in Glen Allen, Virginia. And I also, just today, was booked for another appearance on the Virtual Comedy Show with Steve Goodie and Brad Tassel. That'll be April 6th. So, coming up soon. All right, birthdays. Tomorrow, the 27th, Bonnie Gordon.
Yay, Bonnie.
On Saturday, the 28th, Sulu. And on the 30th, Michael William Hunter. I think I need to prune the birthday list a bit and just get rid of some of the people who haven't posted in years. So you want a birthday wish, you post a song. That's going to be the new rule. All right. Second song of the week, new one by Steve Goodie from this is one that he says is from the I Can't Believe Nobody Thought of That department. Here is Walk Around the Block by Steve Goodie.
1, 2 knees pop, cortisone shots. 5, 6 tourniquets for blood that won't clot. 9, 10 EpiPen for anaphylactic shock, and now they got me rocking compression socks. Well, the doc said, sir, you gotta exercise, turn off storage wars, and go outside. You gotta walk around the block tonight. I never seen arteries this calcified. Gotta walk around the block 5 or 6 times, sir. Then the Gen Z cardiologist said, I'll second that, or I predict a skibbity heart attack. You gotta walk year round the block, alright. Never mind about heat stroke or frostbite. You gotta walk around the block tonight 50 or 60 times, sir.
You would not believe what this kindergartner in a lab coat told me I have to do. Every morning before breakfast, take these 2 pills. Then after breakfast, take these 6 pills. Then take a popsicle stick and stick it in my poop and mail it in.
I'm too weak for weights, too lame for squats. I'm considering bone spurs, so I will not have to walk around the block tonight. I'd rather drive through McDonald's till daylight. Ray Kroc never walked around the block.
No shite! And he did alright. Yeah, supersize it. I am getting too old for this poop. I'll just go to the mailbox and send in my poopsicle.
So Steve Goodie was not available to join us tonight, but he wanted to mention this is the lead-off track from his new album, Emotional Support Hamster, which is going to be released on April 15th. So coming up in a few short weeks. And a new album by Steve Goodie. And I'm actually making CDs for him. So, all right. Let's do some feedback.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback.
Feedback.
Feedback, you know that segment of the show we do about now?
Feedback. Feedback.
Feedback.
Feedback.
Lee, let's sing a song about Lee, let's sing a song about Lee, you're testing my ADD.
Eclectic Lee wrote, I too enjoy the smell of coffee, but don't care to drink it. I don't, however, travel the grocery store coffee aisle just to do so like Devo does. It's a shame it doesn't taste as good as it smells. I also enjoyed the smell of my father's fresh pipe tobacco until he lit it to smoke. Thank you, Lee. And don't knock it till you try it. Take a walk down that coffee aisle. It's worth the trip. All right. And over on YouTube.
A-Log! Oh my god, it's you, not again!
A-Log wrote, congrats on Afroman winning his case. I've been hearing a lot about it through the internet buddies, and one of them suggested that Lemon Pound Cake song be the new national anthem. This is a win not only for rap and free speech, but for comedy music as well. Still unsure to this day why Dr. Demento had to edit Because I Got High to about 2 minutes and change when he made its only appearance on the Funny Five back in 2001, but it's still a very hilarious song regardless. And yeah, he had to edit a lot of songs back then.
Thank you, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, this actually predates it because I was wondering about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
this is like
this is 2001, and the Janet Jackson thing was 2004. But yeah, right around that time, like just in general, like he was getting a lot of heat for some of the songs he played, and just people in general were getting very uptight. And then all of a sudden there was a nipple on television and the world lost its freaking mind. All right. And
you know, like one of those things that was on TV, you know, in England since like the friggin' 60s.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
TV.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the nipples are going to bring about the zombie apocalypse. That's what they're protecting us against, you know. All right, and Skunk ID wrote, probably not exactly the same thing, but I recall anecdotes of Nikola Tesla apparently ordering whole pots of coffee at restaurants only to pour a single cup and sniff the aroma while he ate after a certain point in his life when he stopped actually drinking coffee for health reasons. That's interesting. I haven't heard of that, and I have not taken it that far. I just like walking down the coffee aisle at ShopRite. Yeah, that's... All right, that's all the feedback we got.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. Now you have a job. Yeah.
Tomorrow's song is by Drew Jacobs. And Tuesday's song is by Toby Danger. And for this week's Spotify playlist, I'm going to do Spring, because we haven't done it yet. I probably should have done it last week, but oh well. And I did make a mental note for in the future, excuse me, to do Necrophilia, because I think I might be able to get enough songs out of that for a playlist. But I got to wait until this War Crimes song is up on Spotify before I can do that. So, all right. Steve Goodie is at stevegoodie.com. Trevor, plug yourself one more time.
You can, if you email, it's just my first name, last name, studios@gmail.com. I don't have a website. I should probably make one, but if you need production or anything like that, or a session player, you can email me at Trevor Morgan Studios, and I will be happy to talk with you.
All right. Luke, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski, and look, there's Trevor Morgan.
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, shout it to random people on the street, and be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who would oppose his shield must yield. Or something.